Let's get into this story, though. Interesting. Scott Van Pelt said there's no chance he'll be hosting SportsCenter in 3 years. Oh, so we all know what's going on at ESPN Disney right now. It seems like a mass exodus. A lot of people leaving, or a lot of people holding their breath to see if they're leaving. We've seen Neil Everett of late, was the last one I saw. So Scott Van Pelt's presence on the midnight edition of SportsCenter still is a constant. Like all this change, and you see Pat McAfee coming, and you see Neil leaving, and you're like, who else is leaving? Got to make some more space. Boom, right there, anchored is always that anchor, Scott Van Pelt. But for how much longer? That's really sounds like it's on Scott Van Pelt to decide. So the SportsCenter veteran recently was talking to SI, and he said his time in the anchor chair may be coming to an end pretty soon, doubting that he'll last another 3 years in his current capacity. He says, quote, "I've been doing this a long time." And he moved from ESPN's Bristol headquarters to hometown in DC. Salute, smart man there. He said, look, I don't want to do that forever, and that will lead to the natural, what would you want to do? I don't know. Bam, that's it right there. So you can see, and this happens in pro sports with athletes all the time. You're coming into the twilight of your career, and you hold on not so much with the same grip and love and passion as before, even though you're committed. You're still like, okay, I can't let go, because what am I going to grab next, right? Kind of like, what are those things? I don't think they call monkey bars, but you go see those jungle gyms and you just see the kids and they go like this and they grab the next one. You better make sure you got the next one, right? Because if you don't and you let this go, you know where you're going, flat on that ass. So Scott Van Pelt's trying to figure out what's the next thing to grab. But in this world, in this space now, sports media especially, the opportunities are vast. And he's seeing, obviously, more and more people take those opportunities. So he insists he still very much enjoys SportsCenter, like I said, particularly on nights like when the Denver Nuggets, he said, wins the championship and he gets to look at a team and a franchise celebrate their first NBA championship. But he said the daily grind can be difficult, struggling as so many do to find a healthy work-life balance. Giving you guys some insight behind the curtain. When you do sports media, like when you do what Scott Van Pelt does, your brain never turns off. If you've ever coached before, your brain never turns off in terms of always trying to find something else to say, another story to cover, another topic, another angle, right? And coaching is an easy way to display this. Once you start coaching, everything becomes a play. Everything becomes a scheme. I'll be riding around sometime. I'll be on the freeway and I'm like, oh, this car going slow. I'm gonna go around. I'm like, oh, that's a good play. I can make MJ just go. Next thing you know, next thing I'm at a light. I'm texting. I'm writing myself back the play and stuff. Same thing when you do shows like this. All the time I'm texting back and forth. Mikey P's story. You hear what happened here? You hear what happened here? Ooh, they didn't catch that one. And you're always in this discovery mode. So you're on air for an hour, but your brain is on all 24 hours thinking of the next. So he's trying to find that balance. He says, no chance I'm doing this 3 more years. He's 56 years young or old. That's how he's feeling right now. So my contract doesn't run that long, and there are conversations to be had about what all is part of it. A little leverage here. At some point, you just got to step aside and let somebody else have it. Are we in the middle of a contract negotiation right here? Or are we just airing out how we emotionally feel? So in addition to his SportsCenter duties, we know he also does the golf coverage and he kills it. Oh, I love how he does that. He goes to the Masters and other major tournaments. And he's also been the voice of reason. A lot of people go to Van Pelt because it's kind of hard to find him in the same vein and in the same light as a lot of other ESPN personalities. You always think of him differently, kind of like a breath of fresh air, a lot of people say, because a lot of the personalities are up there for their opinions and the hyperbolic debates that have to happen, right? So he just seems like he's in a different space. He breathes different air because of the format of the show and because of who he is as a person. And oh yeah, by the way, that sucker tall. I don't know how tall. I remember the first time I met him, I got, dang dog. Like I knew he was like, He looked wiry. I was like, all right, so he probably like 6'3", because TV makes everybody look taller and bigger and all that. And I was like, all right, he about 6'3". I walked up to him, I was like, man, this ain't right. I feel like an itty bitty compared to this big old dude, right? So it's good that he's always been himself and carved out that space. But he also says, I don't think it will be cold turkey in terms of his cutting off or removing himself from SportsCenter. Listen, they have reestablished the market, and they can come to me with live numbers and say to me, Van Pelt, we really like this thing you do. So he basically looking around like, oh, y'all got Pat McAfee money out there? Y'all got that Troy Aikman out there? Y'all got that Joe Buck out there? Well, you got that Van Pelt boy. He trying to get some of that food. I ain't mad, but there are other opportunities elsewhere. Shannon Sharp, right, out there. Your boy out there. People out there right now in these streets. He gonna figure out his way. Okay, so everyone likes Van Pelt is feeling the itch of opportunity, right? What's the next rung to grab in climbing towards my success, right? And he knows that he can do it his way. And another way of doing it is direct to consumer. Another way of doing it is not necessarily using ESPN and its platform anymore, because you already have name recognition. You already have an audience. You can grab them and take them and go directly to them. So it's going to be interesting to watch this negotiation, because they can't act like they ain't got the money. Even though they're having the budget cuts and the layoffs, they're still investing in their future and in a grand way. Pat McAfee. So let's see what happens with SVP going forward, because he's truly one of my favorites.